Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Everything Design Show podcast. All right, today I have Yulia Saksen. She's the co-founder and director of Creativeans, which is an award-winning interdisciplinary branding and design management consultancy. Yulia is also the founder of C Academy, an educational and research institution. On top of that, she also serves as a council member at the Institute of Management Consultants in Singapore, and is an Enterprise Singapore Certified Management Consultant. So the company that she's the co-founder and director of is Creativeans, and Creativeans, together with their sister company of C Academy and Creative Mark. Right, they deal with things like branding, product design, UX, UI, packaging, and communications. Right. So, hi, Yulia. How are you?
Hi.
Very good, very good. Yeah, thanks for joining us on the show. So Yulia, actually the thing that I wanted to sort of ask you first is, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the history of Creativeans. I mean, Creativeans, from our knowledge, from my knowledge and our discussions in the past, started, with going to the design shows and with a series of products, and now it's evolved into this huge entity with its sister companies, as well as the different services that it has. But maybe you can give us a little bit of a just quick introduction on what Creativeans is about.
Sure. Okay, thanks for the long introduction. I didn't know it's so long.
No, it's okay. It's good.
Okay. So how did Creativeans start about? Creativeans started off. The name itself is actually started off back in 2008. So we started off as a sole proprietor entity, and we go and invite our founders to go and try something. So it started off by our managing director, Kim Ming Yap. And one day he was just texting all of us, hey, what do you think of this name, Creativeans? During that time, it was so difficult to pronounce because it's like there's a V, there's a E, it's like so mouthful. It's creative what? Then why got ants? Then he say, just like Singaporean, no?
Oh.
We are Singapore people. So I want to go and create a company called Creativeans. It's a place for creative people. And since then, we have been doing quite a Creativeans way. We started off back in 2010 officially, because when we first started, it was during the time when we were still in Milan back then. We invite the founders to create products that represent Singapore. The first collection that we have launched it in 2011 in Milan show. This Salone Satellite. Salone Satellite is one of the biggest platform for young designers to be put into the international level. To be acknowledged is another different pride as a designers. So I think during that time, we only created like about 6 to 8 products. We name it under Treasure of the Little Red Dot. That is one way for us to go and promote Singapore. And we were very happy. And we were quite lucky that a lot of journalists around the world start to look at our collections, and people want to see more from us. There were only 3 days, if I'm not wrong, there were only 3 days of show. The first day of show, we don't even have a press kit. We don't have price list. We don't have anything. People ask us, so where can I get to know more about your company? So at the end of the first show, Kim Ming prepared the press release. And then after that, we get them to go and download, they give us name card, and we back end system, we go and email them one by one, saying thank you, blah, blah, blah. And and that's how most of us start to get noticed, about Creativeans, about design in Singapore, about our collections, and it's been translated in many different languages. Russia, quite interesting because it's a design platform around the world. And at the same year, in September, we went to 10 London. 10 London is also another platform that is meant for young designers, to showcase any products or services that they have. And we had it there. And subsequently, we go for a few more years after that, with new collections, more collection, and so on and so forth. During that time, we were backed by Design Singapore. There was this funding called OPP. It's more onto the overseas exhibition grant. Then we also joined force with SFIC to create Singapore Lah. One of the, if I'm not wrong, in 2014, maybe 2013, 2014. So together with any other designers, local designers, we go together with IMAP fundings to go together, to say about what is Singapore design. Then subsequently, I think as recent in 2016 or 17, we went with our partners. We create the missing dining table collection. So the missing dining table collection was quite interesting. What happened if there's no longer a need to have a dining table at home? So the collection have many different ways, because if you look at it, who has the time to go and eat at the dining table anymore? You will eat in front of your TV, you will eat on your work desk, you will eat outside, so on and so forth. So our products create this particular opportunity. Some people, they eat alone. So how are you supposed to go and create the products surrounding this particular brief? And interesting, some of them, when they went to our booth, they're saying, where's the table? Where's the table? The missing dining table, they will look for the table. And during that time, our collection was created in a copper coating products. So if you see from our website or anything like that, there's collections on that. So some people, they say, oh my God, this looks so pretty. It looks like a rose gold. Copper high gloss can look like a rose gold. They say, no, but we choose it as a copper because of the antibacterial property. We are dealing with food. So antibacterial properties, copper, used long back then, right? So that's how we do. And after that, subsequent year, we came out with Paradiso. Paradiso is a series of furniture, very interesting furniture, in collaboration with Gimenton. Gimenton is a family business furniture maker that is based in Cremona. They were the one that doing for Moroso, Capellini, all those kind of big names. And yeah, I have one, the best the best sets in Singapore. So when we design our products, because they are very good with marine grade quality furniture, that means they build yacht furniture, anti-mold, anti-salt water, all those kind of things. So they built the first set that is in Singapore showroom now using that particular grade. Meaning, if you throw it into the sea, 50 years down the road, you can still see the furniture intact.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine when I bring in the crate back to Singapore? I think I was paying about 2,000 just for the GST.
Wow, just for the GST.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Yeah, and it was just for the cost price.
Yeah.
It's not even the selling price, So painful, but yeah. Okay. Then there is one thing, and subsequently we come out with many different collections on our own, like beeswax strap, metal matter. We have a collaboration glass, also materialized glass with Sarah. Sarah is a second generation business owners. That means family business of doing glass maker. So it's a very famous, one of the best one in Singapore. Okay, so that is one of the thing. Of course, we do many other things. Smaller. Now it's getting smaller because exhibition in overseas is a bit like slow down, especially during the Corona season. It's like we are supposed to have attending another exhibition in Shanghai, or
Yeah.
I'm not very sure. The date keep on get pushed.
Yeah.
So the upcoming one is going to be in September, but we are not very sure whether or not we are still able to or safe to travel out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, no, I mean the history that you just sort of painted for us is very interesting because a lot of that is very
Yes.
product design related, right? But I mean when anybody, if anybody goes to your business website or looks at the LinkedIn accounts and look at the projects that you're doing or even the courses that you're doing, now you're looking at a little more branding, UI UX, packaging, communication, design management, or strategy as well, right? What was the shift that happened? Like, when was this shift, or how did this shift happen that you moved from product and started to include all these other aspects of the business? You know, was there a reason for that? You know, or what caused that to happen?
Okay. We started off as a collection back in that 2010, 2011, right? And people start to go and be interested, can I engage you for this project, that project, and that project? And during that time, we don't even have an incorporation in Singapore at all. So a couple of friends of ours in EDB, they were saying, hey, you're Singaporeans, right? Why don't you go and set up a company in Singapore? There were PIC back then. It was during the time when there were PIC. They say there's this good funding that helps to ease the support when you set up your first year or 2 years of your company. Then we were saying, okay, why don't we do that? So during that time, I think back in 2012, we convert our sole proprietorship into incorporations. First thing first is so that it has a limited liability, right? Private limited. So limited liability to the owners. And also, we want to really focus onto this particular company and make it better. So it's not just like a collection, because people start to give the trust to us. So incorporation happened in 16 September. So we are going to be 8 years soon. 8 years pretty soon, 16 September. So the client comes in, first of all, is just the client that comes in, like, we don't even have SEO back then. Our website was still a collection kind of website, but clients start to come in. And for us to prove what we're doing, we just do according to what they want. That is the first step. And after that, the client say, hey, can you do this also? Can you do that also? Can you do this also? Then when we do it for them, they say, if that's the case, can you manage everything for me end to end? Most of customers, they do it the same way. You settle for me everything. Settle, So that's how we do. We started off as a product design. Product design has this methodology of putting the customers at the center, the user at the center of everything. The way to build the experience and so on and so forth. So from the product design itself, they ask us to go and do packaging, how to package this particular product. Then after that, they ask us, can you communicate it out so that I can sell my product? So that's how we have. Then after that, they say, hey, can you take care of my brand? So that become branding. So that's how we started. And the first year, we were still figuring out. During that time, there were no sound of branding back then. So it was close to more than 7 years ago. More than 7 years ago, we shift from product design to branding back then. So that's explain why we are much more focused onto the branding now, and we have more track records in terms of that because it's been built for the past 7 years. So that's how it started. When you get the trust from the client and you manage to deliver it, they trust you even more. That's built the confidence in ourselves as well. People really trust us in that sense. And that's how our confidence starts to get better and better, and we do more and more, and we attract more people. And also, our kind of client is interesting. We don't have a specific from specific industry. We have quite a big spectrum of it. We have medical, education, FMCG. We have restaurants also. We have a gym. We have one gym in Brunei, and we attract many different clients as well around the world. We are kind of lucky in that sense, maybe. I hope. Yeah. So yeah, especially during this COVID, because I understand like tourism, F&B, they are quite facing quite a huge challenge in terms of that particular industry at the moment. But of course, like we are kind of thankful that many of the essentials company we have. That means they see us as someone very. We have building materials clients. We have disposal company as well. So they are the ones that no need to shut down during the circuit breaker. So we have been supporting them in terms of that. Yeah, thankfully, during the Corona lockdown.
I mean, as a question in terms of, the company has a lot of certifications, right? That they go for. There's you talk about ISO, your RMC, your certification as a consultant, and then your WSQ for the training as well. You have your company has a lot of certifications, has a lot of all of these titles and benchmarks. Do you feel that is actually something that is useful when you go and outreach to your clients, and do you think that if it's useful, is it something that's useful because we're in the context of Singapore? Do you think that because we're in Singapore that applies a little bit more?
Okay. It's true to a certain extent, but sometimes when you talk about it, there are two kind of ways to see it. Number one is to give an assurance for our clients, So, like any other things, how credible is this company? How, if I give my money to them, so-called investing for this particular project, will I get a good returns, or will this company, by night, by day kind of companies, right? So number one is definitely to give an assurance. Number two is for our own self as well. When it's your own company, you want it to systemize as much as possible. So you don't have to be all the time 24/7 and manage it all along. So you need systems to grow, to expand. You can never be one man show all the time for what? We are getting older. Even sometimes going to the market, I also don't want to go already. Call for delivery, So yeah, these two factors. Of course, other than that, it gives you a better position in terms of in comparison to your competitors. Yeah. So what is the plus points? You need to know. When nobody has it, you should be the first one to have it, or even better than competitors. So in the eye of your potential clients, you are much more better off. You have these values, more plus points compared to the other one.
Yeah. Actually, it's quite interesting because like accountants, right? Accountants, they go and do their CPA, their externals, their industry sort of accreditation, certifications, and things like that. I mean, as designers, apart from the certification you get from the school, I mean, there are some societies like, there's interior design societies and things like that, but they are not really sort of certifications where you are measured up to say that, you have this standard, you have this quality, and I think, I mean, it's very hard. Actually, you're one of the first few companies that I've seen that actually design companies that has an ISO and has multiple other types of certifications, and now you're even talking about the PDPC, which is for data protection and things like that, which in my mind it's very strange, because not strange in a bad way, but strange as in it's the first time I'm hearing it. But when I think about it more, then I think actually, I mean, design companies should go through all of these
because we're dealing with IP as well. We're dealing with the reason why clients, during this particular COVID also, there's only a couple of team members of mine able to go and do the clientele works because of the IP protections, and also the clients will be very much appreciated that we still continue keeping the so-called this particular NDA policies, of course, right? So it was quite an interesting time during the circuit breaker.
Mm.
Of course, now we are back like so full because not enough manpower. There's only selective team of ours that can do certain job. You know, it's not that we how to say, it's not that we choose our designers. You know, I think no lah. I think the parents will go and see, then talk. It's not about that. It's more onto some clients are much more comfortable to go and let these particular designers or these particular designers to go and take care of their own work. So yeah, of course, some work are still ongoing now.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I just find. I mean, it's something that the more I think about it, I think.
Very important. Right?
Yeah, very important. Because now, actually, the other day I was just researching back on some of the older companies, right? Like, you know, maybe some animation companies in the past or some design companies in the past. A lot of them have defunct after a while. And then, you know, there's also some ID interior design companies, you know, they change quite quickly. And then, you know, they, you know, some lah, they're talking about very small number, but some run away with people's money and things like that, right? So, I mean, not saying that this, I mean, but I feel that with the accreditation, with all these different standards that you're ensuring, I think the points you talk about, you know, the 5 C's that you have as a business, right? You know, things of consultants, consistency, consciousness, your conscience, you know, it just feels that there is that level of assurance that you've added to your business and your company that you know some other businesses have not, you know. So it's a good thing, you know. I always feel that the more I interact with you all and the more I see, the more I think that, oh, actually, you know, this should be the standard. I think, you know, people should sort of have, and then it should be a case where, you know, like, oh, these are the companies that have been, you know, have that assurance. So you're going to them for that assurance, for that consistency, and it's not just about price matching. You know, it's not about, you know, cutting the corners, cutting the cost, and as a business, it feels like, I mean, from what I see, like, you know, it does add that value to the business because the clients are paying you for that assurance, that more, and it's not like, oh, I'll just give you the quickest cutters cost, because you know, a lot of the companies, when they do that, it's they have no choice. You know, if I cut the cost that you're paying me, I also inevitably will have to cut the quality of the work as well, you know.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have to find a cheaper vendor. I have to overwork my staff members, or I give you less quality, lower quality products. You know, there's no way you can go about it, right? You know, even if I, you know, don't eat, I take less profits for myself or the business, it will still eat into that. It will still eat into the cost of other things. So, I mean, people have to pay for, they pay for what they get, what they pay for, like, in that sense, you know. So I think having the assurance, you know, it's initial sunk cost, expensive. ISO takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, you know. Your PDPC, all of this expensive, a lot of effort, but you know, the trickle down effect, I think, I mean, from what I can see, it's providing a lot of value for the business. So I think that's quite good. Yeah.
So in terms of that, why do we care, right? Sometimes when you, how to say, when you just mention all these things, then it got us thinking, really, oh, that's how you see us, okay. So sometimes when we look at it, it's more onto like putting ourselves in the shoes of our clients as well. You know, if I am the client, if I'm the customers, will I be assured if this person is having this additional certification or winning certain awards or something like that? So when we talk about it, it definitely gives value added points, you know, the extra brownie points compared to any other competitors. Because when we are dealing with brands, it's also the same thing. You know, you need to know what your customer wants. You need to know what your competitors has been doing, you know, and you need to know what you're good at. And so far, the client didn't even ask us about how old are you, or what was your school qualification. You know, they don't have. And most of my clients, or the clients that I'm handling, they are all way older than mine. They are all way older than mine. So if I'm very thankful that they see our company as the same level, to give us a consistent advice to them on how they should go and move their business forward. Some of them definitely already an experienced business owners, like 40 years in the industry, so on and so forth, many, many different generations and so on and so forth. Of course, we need to know what the company needs. When we give an advice, we cannot say like just by looking at your company, I tell you this is no. Our company is being backed by research also. Before we do up, let's say the clients engage us for branding projects, we have to go and do a background research. And the first elements of branding is brand audit. Brand audit requires us to go and look through what the company is having currently, like whether or not they have a vision mission in place. Are they doing the mission in place? What about the stuff going down the road? Do they know what the boss vision is going to be? And what are they doing there for, And when we do internal interview with them, we do up in 3 tiers. First is the managerial. First is the leadership, managerial as well as the executive. Executive can be the heads of certain department, depending on how big is the departments. So we get to know how many inputs from them in terms of the brand itself, in terms of their product or services, in terms of the way they do the marketing. Just these 3 points, among all these things, we will be able to go and get a data on where they are at the moment. We compare it also together with their competitors also. They have to go and mention to us who are their competitors. Competitors can be 2 kind of things, direct and indirect competition. Direct competitor, for example, I'm selling furniture. My direct competitor is also selling furniture. Yeah. But indirect competition can be a client that, not a client, shop that substitute your furniture. That is your indirect competition. For example, a carpet manufacturer. You don't want to sit on furniture, you sit on the floor. That kind of thing. Or even pillow manufacturer or any kind of weird things, So that is your indirect competition. So that could be very interesting. So sometimes they request us, I want to be like that particular company, but I do not know how. Can you study that particular company and see what's so good about them and see where we can match it up? So possible. And the last bit is their customers. Customers in terms of 2 kind of things, their existing customers and their potential customers. What makes the existing customers wants to keep on engaging with the brand? What is it? And what is it that they have? What is it that they want the brand to improve? To giving them better support, better service, or more new products or something like that. When we come in as a third-party consultant, when we do interview face-to-face or even a focus group, we manage to get the info out. They're usually very transparent with us. Of course, we need to build the comfort level with them first, or else then we cannot get a lot of information out, right? So my staff, the one that is in charge of doing, that means the team that is in charge of doing this particular interview has been trained to provide this kind of dialogue, in order for them to go and get as much information as possible. And after that, the data comes in and we need to go and analyze it before we give the recommendation to the brand itself, the brand owners itself, or where you should go, how you should go, why you should go. So that gives us a better position in terms of convincing the clients that, this position is actually better than yours, or you should do this, you should do that. That's how we get it lah. So not an easy job, right?
No.
Not an easy job, but we enjoy it. It's very interesting. It's also a huge responsibility in terms of whatever decision that we have or the way we design the flyers. It needs to be effective. Yeah, it needs to be effective, not just pretty visual, but it needs to be able to communicate. We know about it also. I think during the second year of our company, we realized that when we are designing things or when we design a simple flyers, it's a form of a communication. When we build a product, right, it's a form of communication as well. You know, when any kind of things that we do, even when you cry or when you have this, what do you call it? When you don't even want to say anything, it's a form of communication. Yeah, so that's the unique part of it. For everything that we do, whoever thing that we sell is meant for a human. So the moment we realize we understand the people and so on and so forth, that's how we can serve better. Yeah, that's how when we do our consultation also to the client, we also do the same thing. It's not about you like it or I like it. It's about what your audience want to see, what they want to get out of it, so that they will be able to go and build the connection with you, and they become we call it BFF, right? They become customer loyalty and so on and so forth, even retaining basis. So people is the most important thing.
It is. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's actually a good sort of summary, I think, in terms of the I think the value that you're trying to bring to the customers. And I think it's a very definitely a learning point that companies can look into as well. I mean, the journey of the company seems to be very market driven, right? So it's not you had your core skills you all started out with, your masters, all the education that you did was in product design, but because those skills were quite transferable into the branding, the communication, that allowed your business to grow. And I think it's also, it does feel that it's you were not too I mean, sometimes companies want to, I mean, from what I see, they're very niche. So I only want to do product, I don't want to do anything else. But it seems like Creativeans was able to follow the flow of nature, and based on the demands of the market, we will also expand these things through the transferable skills, which is good. And then also now, I mean, with C Academy, and also you are also running quite a few workshops for different organizations and different businesses as well, right? I mean, it's also starting to see that, you this belief that, Creativeans, we're Singaporeans, right? That everybody can be creative as well. So, it's also interesting to see how you also taken that shift and included the educational aspect as well. But I guess, to touch on that a little bit, I mean, do you feel, apart from, just educating people, how do you feel that, this idea of having an education arm in that sense, how do you feel that actually adds value to the core business, or is it doing something that's more of a sort of social education aspect, or do you see that it actually does include and bring benefit back to the core business when it comes to engaging with clients?
Okay. How we started off creating this C Academy altogether was simply because two reasons. Number one, when we engage our designers, of course, fresh designers or designer that come from any other industry then seeking for employment to us, they have to be trained using our methodology. So this particular methodology was created in a way that they'll be able to, we call it like an OJT, right? On the job trainings. So they'll be able to deliver, they'll be able to understand our system, they'll be able to do those kind of things. And sometimes not all students learn the same way. It's not about the students is not very smart or the teacher is not very good. It's more onto the communication link between them got disconnected, So we have been taking a lot of design, every now and then there will be interns coming in. So I'm the one that is in charge of training them so that they'll be able to go and deliver the projects as effective as possible, right? Because time matters, right? Then we have to understand the persons, We have to understand the communication way of them understanding things, and we have to understand their growth as well. Every staff of ours, we no longer see them as expenses. I know most business owners fall into this trap saying that, no, if I get them, I need to pay. I need to keep on paying them. But the moment you start to see them as an asset, you want to go and groom them. You want to keep them for long. You want to know why they like working with you. You want to keep on feeding what they want to get out of you, and they will be more than happy to support you with everything that they have. The moment they have, that means the moment that they get what they want from you lah. So it's the same thing. Started off from teaching the team. Then after that, the clients start to ask questions, right? Then we were saying that, if that's the case, let's create this thing, because the clients say you manage to go and simplify things that, like for example, if a doctor needs to give an instruction on how to do a heart surgery, but this particular doctor will be able to go and is able to go and translate it in a very layman terms that the patient understand, that is already a plus point. So what we are doing is also the same thing. We remove all the jargons because we try to put ourselves in their shoe. Will they understand? Because they may not be going through the same education system that we have. They may not be able to go and see what we have been seeing. So we have to communicate with them as simple as possible. So that is one of the strengths that when we mention about C Academy is we believe everyone can be creative. You don't need to be a designer to be creative. Sometimes, like when the table or the seats is not balanced, what do? You just fold a couple of paper and stuff it in, right? That is being creative, So everyday design exists. So you don't have to be.
Yeah.
And how does this C Academy become one of our core system is when after we go through the branding, and we implement everything else, the client will be very much appreciated if we can translate it to all the layers of team that they have. This company has gone through the branding, and these are the things that they do, and these are the things that you should be doing as a brand ambassador. Every staff that they have is a brand ambassador. The way they present themselves, the way they talk about their services, the salespeople, or even the way they answer the phone call is a reflective of how the brand is. So they need to be trained in terms of what we call it as brand rollout. And the output of it, let's say, that's why we are able to go and give it a brand all the way to the franchise level, is because of the brand guide manual. Brand guide manual, if they give it to franchisee to follow through, they'll be able to follow through even though they do not know what the company is actually doing, or the franchisee can be non-staff, right? So yeah, so that's what we do.
No, yeah, it's good. So it's inspiring to sort of see how, because I think the unique thing I think about Creativeans, I really feel, is that apart from the the accreditations or the certifications or the ISOs that we're talking about, is that your business has a very, 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 very clear structure. You do things in a very structured manner. And sometimes people may think that it's counterintuitive to being creative. Like creativity is about being spontaneous. We want to solve problems quickly, but actually we do need to bring some very clear structures in, like what you've done. To research. To do the brand audit, to do the engagement with the clients on multiple levels. Right? It needs to be structured in those ways before the creativity can come out. Right? So I think it ties very nicely, and all the components, do seem to come together very well because of this structure, from the, from, and you tie it's just, I'm just very intrigued because, when I think about it, when I first started my design career, or, first started going to design school, we learn about all the theories, we learn about all the different components of design, right? But to be able to see how you have done it from end to end, right? The pre-engagement with the clients, research, and then doing all the different things, product design, branding, and then now leading up with Creative Mark, right? All the way to manufacturing with your different partners, and then your digital aspects. So it's a structure that works, right? And it's a structure that has been able to help your business grow, not just locally in Singapore, but internationally as well. You talk about clients in Brunei, in Asia, wider parts of Asia, internationally as well. And I just find that it's very interesting because it's very unique, because I don't see many companies, I guess, have that breadth of things that they cover, but also have that depth in terms of that structure that's there. So I think I feel that is a very unique selling point as a business and as a brand itself. So yeah, I mean, I think that's something that caught on, and now you're teaching people through your about this whole structure, about this whole format, and it works not just to help you get more clients, but it also helps you works in terms of when it comes to the training people, because you're training them in a very systematic manner, right? Everybody's got their different roles, different tasks, and you talk about people, we usually think of when we think of these ISO certifications, we think of manufacturing, right? Of manufacturing companies, and the design company is usually not linked with that, but now when you think about it, you can see actually the way you've done it, it fits, that whole structure very well. And it's almost like a manufacturing plant, but still giving you it's not manufacturing in terms of the product, but it's manufacturing in terms of the structure and the way that you're doing things. So from an organizational perspective, it's very clear, and I think that's very clear for clients as well. I think it adds value to the clients, because the clients also know that you are doing these specific things. Because sometimes, I mean, even when I talk to new people who know about design, I can be a bit airy-fairy or can be a bit vague, because we're not sure what the outcome is going to be, right? But sometimes people are very hard to grasp it. But because you've given them a very, very clear structure, okay, it's research, the brand audit, the product specifications, blah, 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 A, B, C, D, it's very clear. And I can imagine as a client, I'll be like, oh, okay, so I know this is what I'm going to get, right? It's not like it's very vague. So I think that's something that it's very, very interesting to learn about, especially from a design company. And I don't know, I think maybe because the companies that I've been engaging with, a lot of them are maybe more started out as branding, advertising, communication, or UI or web, right? So maybe the schools of thought within there is a bit different from a product school of thought, right? Which which traditionally a little bit more, not to say totally, but a little bit more like we talk about user-centric, right? So having that user-centricity, and it just flows throughout, with all the different frameworks, and also I'm sure your use of materials, that also plays a part. So I don't know, just the more you speak about it, the more I'm just thinking like, wow, the system just works, right? It feels like it just works. It's a well-rigged, well-oiled, and well-tested machine that works. And I usually don't think of design businesses as machines, but the way the more you speak about it, the more I'm almost like buying into it, also like I'm going through a sort of a design, like a design conversion in my mind. Yes, like, I'm going through this, epiphany, it's just opening these eyes for me. But I guess I'll move on. I won't ramble too much. But the next question I actually wanted to ask you is related to the C Academy, right? So you talk about C Academy, and we talk about education. And I think in our earlier conversations, you have this book, right, which is the Are You Brain Dead? And you've been selling those copies around, and you've been using it as actually what I find is quite interesting as a marketing tool. That's something that is quite unique. Apart from the book, in fact, from using the book as a marketing tool, are there any other ways that you are marketing the business to sort of get new customers? So I mean, just based on what we've spoken about, you have the book, and also you're using, to educate people and potential clients through C Academy. Are there plans, or are there other unique ways that your Creativeans is using, or or engaging other businesses to sort of to convert them into potential clients? Any other new interesting ways that you've been doing? Nothing too secretive, nothing that's please don't share anything the too secretive things. Or unique ways that I guess you've done in the past that you felt was quite useful.
Okay, so how we do marketing. Marketing works both ways. Yeah, marketing works. Okay, branding is something to attract you, right? Branding is a way to attract the potential customers towards you. Can be, for example, like me, the color of my hair, for example. If I want to change it to Shashway, then I pink, then you start to look at me, right? Or I change the color of my lipsticks or the way I dress up, So all these kind of things is what you see as the brand itself. Like, for example, the way they do packaging, the way they do their logo, all those kind of things is part of branding. But logo is not the brand, huh? Okay. Then, so that is to pull towards you. It's the reason why you want to listen to me. It's the reason why, right? So the how itself is the way you translate what is inside your brain out to the end users. Like, I'm giving you the name card so you know who I am. I'm showing you my website so you know who I am. I'm showing you my flyers, my brochure, or even my webinar chat like this. I'm telling you who I am, right? What I do, what I'm good at, and so on and so forth. So, ta-da! This is the book.
Yes. Are You Branded? Yes, I will have the links in the description, so don't worry. You can buy a copy.
So Are You Branded is quite funny because the brand itself is true enough. It's actually the brain of your company, right? This particular brand works for both ways. It works for individual, professional services, and the other way is good for your company as well. And we make it very simple that it doesn't have an industry jargon because Yulia doesn't come doesn't born with English speaking family. Yeah. So if Yulia doesn't understand, everybody don't understand. Simply saying like that. So this book has been like we created this book. That means we write this book co-author with our managing director and as well as Judy Tam. So we developed this book, the content itself, for about 9 months. Copy edit, copywriting, change this, change that. About 9 months, and printed because this is produced by our own. So it just take 1 month, and the thing comes in with a couple of 1,000 copies, right? So this book, we use it as part of marketing tool, simply because every time when we speak with the client keep on asking, what do you mean by branding? What is branding? Then we have to repeat the whole chunk of it. Yeah, so we find it like, okay, enough is enough. Let's write the book. Pain for 9 months is okay. It's like delivering a kid lah. So this is my baby, right? So this one, then this allows them to understand in the form of like a story writing, a journey with Mr. Brain, story of like a Mr. Brain on what is branding and what can it do to you and how you can do a step on how to do it, because this particular book has this like case studies. Then also there are some self checklists for you to go and fill it up and so on and so forth. So it's a good handbook, So because when you think about it, if you're given a book by somebody, if I don't like to read, what happened to the book inside the shelf? Right? Because they say it's bad luck to throw a book.
Yes.
So I'm giving them a book that they better don't throw.
Yeah.
Because people throw your brochure, people throw your name card sometimes, right? They do not know where they're misplaced because the name card's so small. And now they have a digital name card. So but book is like an evergreen. Even if you read it one time, maybe next year or 2 years, or reference when you are in need to go and refer to it, the book is still there. And so that is one of the way. Make sure you have physical and digital marketing. So another type of marketing is what we have, tote bags. Just as simple as tote bags.
Yeah.
So the tote bags, when we deliver our, for example, during that time, we were still doing quite a number of tote bags for exhibitions. We do tote bags for delivering our our deliverables projects to the clients. This one, the CPIN, is also our marketing tool now. It's only for the VIP will get it.
Wow. Okay.
So Nick, if you go and give a talk to my event again, I'll give you one.
Can. I will.
Once a Creativeans will always be a
Yes.
Creativeans. Yeah. So many other ways for you to do it, and also marketing ways website. Yeah. So our website has recently been relaunched, remade, rebuilt, completely new. That show off a little bit more onto our UI UX side. So a lot of people were saying UI UX is much more apps based, website based, but it's not true. UI UX is created in a form of with an intention of creating a good experience. That leads to rating system. For example, if you take Grab, they will ask you to rate my service or something like that. Why you rate 3 star? Why you give 1 star? Why you give 5 star? That gives different reasons, right? For example, the car condition is very bad. The uncle talk too much, or aircon too cold, or super spanky clean, the guy knows direction, super fast to the destination, very safe, right? All this kind of thing is actually what I call it as user interfaces. All the interfaces is the support things that makes it happen, that creates the UX, the experience that you have, right? So that happens digitally. Physically, it's the same thing too. Like, for example, if you haven't met the person and you give a call to your brand, answer phone call, and this person speak very rude, do you think they will engage the business? I don't think so. Yeah. So many different things as well. For example, the flyers that you receive on the road, if it designed very bad, I don't know where's the phone number. I cannot see. That is interfaces as well. The placement for information, the hierarchy, how normal people read it. Left to right, up to down, or anything like that. The color choice as well. You cannot just slam any choices of colors. Those are interfaces. So. Then going back to that one, marketing tools, many different ways lah. And creating a products, then after that you put design by Creativeans. It's also a marketing tool for us. Other than social media posting, all those kind of things, there are many ways. Sometimes even when you produce a pen, we never do that. Produce a pen, then you put your logo and you give it to them, or creating a post-it, you give it to your potential customer. It's a way for you to get them to remember you all the time because you're writing a pen. And make sure this pen is not just a normal ballpoint pen, not the typical pilot pen that they can get somewhere else. Sometimes what you can do, if you have budget, you can engrave your client's name. They will not throw their name away. So you have to think in their own shoes, what kind of products or what kind of things that you promote about your company or your services that they do not want to throw. Then you're forever there. Like, for example, some people go and create desktop calendar. The desktop calendar, they print their client's name, or even not the client name, like the company names and so on and so forth. But if you want to go one step further, you actually can do hot stamp, do a bit more expensive, definitely, because it's one piece production, right? Custom production. But they will keep it for life.
Maybe if your company got enough budget, can always give a watch. I don't mind receiving a few watches. Maybe can collaborate.
Wow, so nice.
Can. Think about it. But actually, the point you made, going back just to a little bit on the point you made about the UI UX part, right? Actually, it's the way you present it is very interesting, because so traditionally, from academic perspectives, right, the UI has always been coming from has always been coming, from the human-computer interactions side, right? UI has been, always talking about the screen, what's on the screen, your different bars or icons and things, right? So that's the user interface. So traditionally, a lot of times we look at it as define it as that, and then the experience is sort of the bigger thing that we talk about. But now, I actually do like the way that you present it. You're saying that actually the interfacing or with the user, actually as a brand there is also UI, right? You're saying so.
Correct.
The brand has a lot of these different UIs, the uncle or the aircon in the Grab or in the taxi, or whether it's your F&B companies, all of these are the different user interfaces. Some people call it brand touch points, right? But you call it as a user interface, and the experience or the UX that you want to your client wants to have at the end of the day is the emotional, right? I want them to live happy. I want to live them to live thinking of it from a mulling over it and having thoughts of it. So I think that's a very, very interesting way to present it. I will definitely go and use that for my class next time. Quote Yulia, say UI is not just about the digital, right? It's also about the other physical interactions or these non-tangible things. The uncle talking to you or not talking to you, it's very simple. It doesn't take much effort, but that is one very key user interface, user interface / user or interaction that you see on a day-to-day basis.
Even just when you open the door, then after that you say good morning. There are different ways of
right?
saying the way you say morning.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Good morning. They will be so happy.
Welcome to Uniqlo.
Yeah, welcome to Uniqlo. Wow.
Yeah. Not sponsored.
I haven't visited my Uniqlo yet.
Yeah. This podcast not sponsored by Uniqlo, but yeah.
You never know. Maybe
one day.
You.
One day they will come and talk, and maybe they come and hire you also. Talk about So
design a t-shirt.
Yeah, designing t-shirts for Uniqlo.
Oh, by the way, this one, right? It's a 24 karat gold.
Wow. Okay, very premium.
It's a 24 karat gold, so it's not just a typical pin that you can
better
get.
not throw. Can I pawn if I ever get it? How much will I get if I pawn it at the pawn shop? Maybe you can get
that one. You have to go and check.
Go check. I wait for me to get one pin first, then I go and check.
I know, right?
I'll wait for the next talk. I'll go definitely.
Cool.
Go. Yeah.
I'll reserve one for you.
Thank you. But I get that. I think that will I think that sums up the podcast quite well. I think we spoke about brands. I think the transition of a company from product to looking at branding as a whole, including all these other facets, right? I think also the Creativeans system, which is very unique, sharing with us, about how your different ISOs, your different certifications, all of these play a very big part in how you run the whole organization as business, and the value of your different marketing tools as well, and your unique ways of selling to different clients. And I also think it's the company. I think one of the C's that you talk about in the business, is this consistency thing, and this consistency thing, the more I listen about it, the more I hear about it, it's just consistency throughout, which I think is something that's very rare, in and especially now in the design world. Actually, there's so many different design companies, right? I mean, so many design companies that are out there, and it's not just about saying that, oh, I'm better, or I'm or I'm better, or I'm faster, or I'm cheaper, and things like that. I think nowadays, I think the path that you've taken in terms of building a consistent organization that ties in all of these different aspects, that's something that's, I think, quite unique, and also you talk about the value of having a very the value of having some of these investments to the PDPC, the ISO standards, the accreditations, all of these different certifications that you talk about, the value, the added value that comes in at a later stage. I think that's something that I think is very unique to the Creativeans journey, and very thankful to be to be part of the Creativeans journey, especially last year with the talk, and things for the future. So I think that's very interesting, the discussions that we've had today. Anything else that you want to sort of share, sort of as a last point, Yulia, to sort of share with the listeners, especially, those who are maybe, hearing about Creativeans for the first time, or, learning about, all these design, the systems, and, especially the branding and things like anything that you want to sort of talk about, or anything that you feel that we missed out?
Okay. I mean, like, I got a lot of things to say. I always got a lot of things to say.
Sure. We'll have another episode.
Yeah, of course. Invite me again, okay?
I will.
Yeah. Let's say, what kind of parting words can I have for this session? Okay, so maybe you can take a look at this as in, brand itself is actually a growing thing. Brand is alive. Brand is a growing thing. So there's a lot of hindrances coming along. There's a lot of for you to put an effort so that the brand can actually grow and attract more people. People start to know about your brand. It's more onto like a life cycle, but of course it's not dead lah. The growing life cycle, right? When you're a startup, you're actually like a baby brand, right? Baby brand, nobody knows about your name, what you're good at, or what kind of product services that you have. So there'll be a lot of time spent needed for creating awareness. More like telling people what you do, what you're good at, and just so. Then there will be a time where people start to know about you. Then people start to inquire you. People start to see you have a good testimonial track record. That's how enables you to become to the upper stage. We call it like a bit more stable. The kind of the growth is actually depending on how fast you can pick up and start to do up your company itself. Some people takes longer time between the first stage to the second stage. Some people take longer time to go to upper one. And also when you are already stable, very good source of income, people start to know you, people heard about your brands all the time, and you have to maintain it. That's why we call it the evergreen brand. So you have to maintain this particular brand of yours. Don't ever complacent, stay complacent in terms of it's okay lah, those young newbies will never go and attack me one. I'm 40 years in the industry, right? Yes, 40 years in the industry. During your time, you are very peaceful. But a lot of young brands nowadays is much more aggressive. They are much more hungry, and they can even, because they are very comfortable with using technology, using analytics or anything like that, they can even shoot up much faster than what you are. So brands needs to take note on their competitor, at all time. If you have a digital presence, check on it, analyze it every now and then. If you have a physical thing, go and check on it every time. Complacency is not suitable for brand. You will die. Confirm die, very chum. So, and the fun thing is, you just take it as this particular brand is something that is alive. It's part of you. For brand owners, part of you, your baby as well. Yeah. So groom them. If the hair very long, cut the hair. If there's any things very old already, the clothes, the look, change new look. Doesn't mean that you change completely new person, but change the new. We call it the brand relaunch, right? And your audience, your customer, your client will be very much appreciated, and they will see like, oh, you're still keeping up to the trend. You're still keeping up. You still want to serve me with a new look. And by doing a new brand or rebrand your company, it can help to attract the new potential customers as well. Of course, one thing that the brand should not do is follow trend. They should not follow trend. They should use the trend to boost up the brand, but not follow the trend. For example, your company has this very official font. Then suddenly you change the calligraphy one. Because it's a trend right nowadays.
Trendy. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yes.
Your audience will find it very confused. Who are you then, if that's the case? Right? So are you this one or are you that one? And that's where the consistency comes in. Every brand must still be consistent in delivering the message. And yeah, that's all.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thanks for those. Also, I think for the listeners, anybody who is interested, Yulia is actually going to be having a webinar sometime in August. So I'll put the links in the description. Along the lines of how to build a professional service brand to basically attract more businesses. So if anybody is keen, please feel free to look for I'll have the link in the description for the webinar that's coming up in sometime in August. Also, I'll have the links for the book as well. Are You Brain Dead? So do pick up a copy. If you're keen to really look at it as at how to maybe do a bit of DIY for your own brand as a start. And then if you do want to engage Creativeans or go and learn from C Academy, I also will have some of the links in the description. If you want to connect directly with Yulia, also we'll have her details in the description below for the podcast as well. So, but yeah, thanks very much, Yulia, for spending time with us to come on this podcast and to share your perspectives on branding and business as well. And I think it's very useful for all businesses, whether it's the client side, whether it's design companies that are sort of starting up, or even designers wanting to go into their own to do their own businesses.
Entrepreneurship journey,
Yeah, exactly. So I think today's talking point, today's episode has a lot of different snippets and a lot of good points that can be learned and taken from both the client as well as the designer side. Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you very much, Yulia, for joining us today, and we'll see you at the next episode. And yeah, thank you. Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.